One of the things, the sort of ironies that has struck me recently about Stickybeak is that for decades, the research industry as a whole has been creating surveys made by people or run by people that sound like they're run by robots. And the challenge that you've kind of picked up is now running surveys by robots that sound like people. I think that's, a massively impressive kind of achievement, that I can do this thing now, and it feels natural to me.
And one of the great things about it is that it's fun, it's engaging, it feels lighthearted, and I don't think we would have got there if we hadn't gone out and talked to people and kind of got to kind of pick apart what it is that's stopping them from filling out traditional online surveys. The chatbot was asking me a series of questions and I could respond in quite a human way. And being someone who was interested in human-centered design, this excited me a lot because it was starting to tell a narrative that was very unlike the one that you might tell if you're talking about your typical online research platform.
In the first prototype that you saw, there was just chat bubbles. It was happening in a Facebook Messenger interface, but there wasn't the kind of character or personality that Stickybeak now has. Can you talk to me a little bit about how you got to the point of thinking that was sort of fundamental to the product?
There's already that expectation before somebody opens your survey that your survey is going to be boring. And so we had to kind of come up with as many tools as possible to not only make it more engaging, but also start to kind of bring that wall down and allow people to kind of look over the fence and start to kind of and to trust our brand, because the sort of more that you kind of come to the table, the more they're going to meet you halfway. And with the overall goal that they're going to tell you more about things that are true to them and give you genuine responses. One of the ideas that kept coming up was around emoticons, and how emoticons can convey a lot of expression through a single symbol instead of having to type out heaps of different things. And that kind of led to coming up with our own emoticons, which then led to coming up with our own characters. And these characters kind of have become our agents, and they kind of help people create the survey. And then when somebody conducts a survey, they pop up at different times to kind of like encourage the user, or they might react to how the user responds.
It strikes me that this is about a platform that allows people to communicate with each other, be it a researcher and a respondent, or a client and a respondent, or whoever, and put conversation at the centre of that in a way that just makes it a really natural human interaction for people. And I think you've done fantastic work. I still get a real buzz out of kind of doing the surveys.
So, I mean, David, when chatting to you, one of the things that kind of came up quite early on was that you disliked the fact that these other products out in the market were offering 300 templates, and you were very adamant that it needed to only be 10 or 11 or 12. Can you talk a little bit about why you came to that?
Yeah. I've always been, a real fan of the idea of kind of quality over quantity, and there would have been something kind of easy and lazy about launching 301 templates, just to have the most templates. But if those aren't templates that people can use, if they're not templates that create surveys that respondents enjoy doing, why would you have an extra 290 something of them? And I think back to the stuff that you were talking about earlier, I think we've fundamentally shifted the way we've thought about what we're building, into less about a kind of a race to have the most or, any of those things, and more about just making sure that we stay true to the fundamental design principles that you've talked about, making sure that we don't just focus on the integrity of the data, but we focus also on the integrity of the interaction, whether it's an interaction with a respondent who's having a fundamentally different, more engaging type of experience on the platform, or if it's an interaction with a person running a survey, who can now create something quickly, beautifully, more cheaply and faster than they could before. Quality, not quantity.
And again, sort of going back to this sort of approach of having human-centered design, our ultimate goal is for more people to answer the question, why don't more people share their views online? How great would it be if you or your friends or your family, your doctor, your teacher, whoever, were responding to these surveys too? And it kind of means that people who are in power can actually make change within your community, get views from a more kind of democratic pool of people.
Exactly. It's leading to better surveys, it's leading to better responses, and it's leading to better insights.
Yeah.
Because you've designed it, in that kind of human-centered way.
Again, a lot of that goes back to that first meeting that we had, and just even trying that prototype out for the first time, and you felt it. You're like, oh wow, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
And it's been quite exciting to kind of use that as a starting point and just see how far we could push it. And I think we've done that.
We're on the road.
Really special.